All right, let's dive into something pretty wild today. We're going to break down a fascinating claim about a document, supposedly from 1997, that predicted our modern world with, well, some pretty shocking accuracy. We're going to walk through exactly what this thing is said to have forecasted, and you can make up your own mind about it.
So right out of the gate, the source draws a big line in the sand. It says, this is not prophecy, but prediction. We're not talking about some mystical crystal ball stuff here. The implication is that this was a calculated forecast, maybe even based on knowledge that most people just didn't have.
And this is the year, the single point that this whole story hinges on, 1997. The document was supposedly printed in February of that year. Now, to really feel the impact of what's coming, just take a second and remember what 1997 was like. The internet made that screeching dial-up sound, your phone was attached to a wall, and the idea of an app was pure science fiction. Keep that world in your head as we go through this.
So that's the setup. A document almost 3 decades old that supposedly gave us a roadmap to the future we're living in right now. Let's get into the actual details and see what it supposedly said.
Okay, one quick thing to know before we jump in. The person presenting all this says that what we're about to see is just a sample, a highlight reel, if you will, from a much, much longer list. So, let's see what made the cut.
The predictions are kind of grouped into themes. And the first one, well, it's a topic that hits a little too close to home for all of us these days: biotech and pandemics.
Whoa, okay. This first set of claims is a lot. The document supposedly didn't just predict viral pandemics, but fast-mutating ones. It talked about genetically developed vaccines, a term most of us probably hadn't even heard until a few years ago. It also allegedly mentioned things like massive DNA databases, DNA chips, and pharmaceuticals based on your specific genes. But that last one is the real kicker, transmitting genetic instructions to actually start a disease process. In 1997, that wasn't just predictive, it was like speaking a different language from the future. And this is where the person presenting this stuff got really taken aback. The document supposedly predicted using AI to analyze genes in robots for genome sequencing. You have to remember, back in the late 90s, who was even talking about AI in the mainstream? The idea of combining it with biology was, for them, what made this prediction so incredibly stunning. But of all the biotech claims, this is the one the source says just blew me away. The alleged mention of using recombinant DNA, which is basically a super advanced biological cut-and-paste tool to specifically create spike proteins. The level of technical specificity there for 1997 would have sounded like something out of a sci-fi movie to almost anyone. That's what's being presented here as the smoking gun.
Okay, so the predictions didn't just stay in the lab. The source claims this document also went into detail about some profound changes to our everyday technology and how we live. You know, how society itself was going to be completely rewired. And yeah, this list should sound pretty darn familiar. It supposedly mentioned smart homes and smart cities, terms we use all the time now. It also allegedly described nanotech devices, which were way out there in the realm of theory back then, and even predicted the rise of digital currency.
But this next one, this is what the source speaker says will absolutely floor you. And the slide really says it all. In the 9-to-5 everyone in the office world of 1997, this document supposedly made a very specific prediction for the year 2020, that people would be working from home virtually. To pinpoint a cultural shift that massive for that specific year, that's presented as one of the most eerily accurate predictions of the whole bunch.
So from our homes and our jobs, the predictions then allegedly took a much, much darker turn. This final section covers what the source calls a global killer plan, and the focus shifts to really catastrophic, world-changing events.
One of the most alarming predictions that the source pulls out is this one, the use of nuclear devices, not just in a war, but in a way that would cause widespread, long-lasting contamination. It's a truly terrifying vision of the future.
So, after all of that, from biotech and AI to smart homes and working from your couch, what does the source present as the final show-stopping prediction? What's the last piece to the puzzle?
And here it is. This is the final one. The source speaker quotes it directly, saying they have to chuckle because the other option is to cry. The prediction was for massive vaccination programs, for a global killer that, back in 1997, had yet to emerge.
So, after laying out this whole list of seemingly spot-on forecasts, the source doesn't just leave it there. It asks the question that you're probably asking yourself right now. What does it all mean? And this is the conclusion the speaker comes to. Not that it was a lucky guess, or even just a brilliant forecast.
The implication is way more direct. For predictions this specific to have existed so many years ago, somebody knew something. It wasn't prophecy, they argue. It was a plan.
And that really is the central question this whole thing leaves you with. Is this, as it's been presented, a document of almost unbelievable foresight? Just an uncanny forecast of the world we're in now? Or, as the source suggests, is it evidence of something else entirely, a deliberate, long-term plan that's been unfolding exactly as it was written? That's what we're left to think about.